The Party Poker World Pool Masters is underway here in Nottingham. 16 men chasing one of the most coveted prizes in the sport, and the lion's share of a $66,000 prize fund. One man has already made a winning start, but it came at a price for the defending champion. The headline-grabbing performance came not from Niels Feijen, but instead from Daniel Corriere, a man whose claim to fame rested with the collection of 2 Italian titles. But here in Nottingham, he mastered the break which Feijen, the defending champion and world #1, clearly had trouble with. And even when the opportunities presented themselves, the Dutchman failed to take them. It gave Corriere the edge and ensured he went through to the quarterfinals. Germany's Thorsten Hohmann is next up as he prepares to take on Mosconi Cup star Nikos Ekonomopoulus. Leading the way for the host nation, former world champion Darren Appleton. He takes on Alex Pagulayan. The Philippines' Dennis Orculio is another one who features on the Masters Roll of Honor. His win coming back in 2010 in Vegas. He plays England's Chris Smelling. And finally, Mika Immonen, a man who has won virtually everything the sport has to offer, bar the Masters title, is out to amend the omission when he plays England's Mark Gray. Thorsten Hohmann arrives in the UK as an undisputed legend in the sport of 9-ball. A 2-time world 9-ball champion and World Cup winner, but the Masters is one title missing from a very impressive CV.
I've played the World Pool Masters 3 times. I think the best finish was 5th. I've done well in the others. I've won the World Cup of Pool and I've won the World Pool League, so to win the World Pool Masters would be a nice addition to my collection. Any match, even the first round, could be a final. I couldn't pick one player to win it, it could pick 16 players to win it. So that gives you an idea of how strong the field is this year. I moved out of Europe over 10 years ago, but I know Nick very well. He's a super nice guy on and off the table, and he's made a name for himself in Europe and totally deserved to be here. He's on the Mosconi Cup this year, well deserved, and I'm prepared to bring 100% of my game to have a chance against him.
Hohmann is facing Mosconi Cup star Nikos Ekonomopoulus, a man making his 2nd appearance in the Masters.
I'm very excited about this because I play 2nd year in a row, and I feel very proud, and I want to try to play my best. My last event now was US Open, that I make the 3rd place. It was very good for me. Also, I took a place to Mosconi Cup, so it's the best for every player to play in this competition. And I finished 2 times 2nd in Euro Tour. I'm in 6th place in WPA ranking, so I'm happy about all of this. Every match is very, very difficult. Every opponent is very tough. So the system is single elimination and race to 8 winner break, so every match is very, very tough. I must try to concentrate and to play my best.
Germany against Greece. Match number 2 in the Party Poker World Pool Masters of 2014. Of course, based on his career achievements, Thorsten Hohmann is the favourite. But after what happened in match number 1, I think we're loath to make any assertive predictions. And Nikos Ekonomopoulus is a former Mosconi Cup player who can compete with the very best.
Well, yeah, if on paper, if you're just looking at the resumes, you might say that Thorsten was the favorite. But in reality, as they stand today, this is a 50-50 match. If anything, Nick may have a bit of an advantage. Thorsten Hohmann, just before this match, he just arrived from China only a few hours ago before playing this match, and about 20 hours ago on an arduous journey that took him a day and a half to get here to Nottingham. So that can be really rough on the body and on the mental state as well.
It was a case of planes, trains and automobiles, wasn't it?
Yeah. So we'll see how the jet lag and the wear and tear of traveling halfway around the world affect the hitman.
wasn't helped either by the fact that the taxi driver took him to the incorrect venue originally, so he's had a stressful evening, although he did arrive in ample time.
Ekonomopoulus has been playing very well in the lead up to the Whirlpool Masters. Just a couple of weeks ago, he took third in the U.S. Open, which is always a really, really difficult event. And this man right here, the hitman, Thorsten Hohmann, well, what can you say about him that hasn't already been said? He is, well, since he came on the scene in 2003 when he won the Whirlpool Championship in Cardiff, he has been a consistent presence at the top of the leaderboard of tournaments around the world. He won his second World 9-Ball Championship 10 years after he won his first in 2013 in Doha, Qatar. He is a threat to win any event he enters. So he leaves the 4-ball open for Nikos. "30-second shot clock."
I think it's one of those tables we've seen already where you have to have power to maneuver the cue ball around, and Ekonomopoulus doesn't mind doing that. Super shot there.
Nick has a certain swagger about his game that's really fun to watch. He's confident, talented, and he knows how to close out matches. That's what separates champions from everyone else. There's a lot of great players out there, but not everybody knows how to close the deal. That's what makes this such a great matchup right here, because Thorsten Hohmann, there's another guy that can close a match.
European pool is so powerful these days, got such strength and depth. If you can make a Mosconi Cup team, you can play this game. And Nikos Ekonomopoulos has played a good opening game, and he's drawn first blood against Thorsten Hohmann. 1-0.
Yeah, Nikos is the kind of guy that in a winner breaks format, he could, if he gets on fire, this match could be over in 30 minutes. He doesn't mess around. He just gets up and shoots. Started to make a name for himself on the international pool scene about 3 years ago. There's that one ball going in the side. Again, if you've watched our broadcasts in the past, we used to have a 3-point rule, an illegal break rule. Not here.
Push out.
He calls a push out.
Now, the aim of the push out, in simplistic terms, is to leave a shot that you might fancy yourself if you put back in, but one which your opponent won't fancy. You have to second guess.
And Hohmann doesn't fancy that. So he puts Ekonomopoulus back in the rack. Nick's having a look at that to see if he's left it open for Thorsten. But still, there's a scratch there. So Thorsten's used as one extension in the rack.
Well, considering the 2-ball is in mid-table, I don't think Hohmann can complain too greatly. Notice in the background there the referee, Brendan Moore, best known, of course, in snooker circles, officiated this year's World Championship final at the Crucible Theatre in Sheffield.
Stamping his authority here. Told him to, just heard him say, keep the noise down.
Yeah, so relatively new to pool circles, but I'll tell you what, he's a fine referee.
Wow. A combination that length, you don't see that too often. That's a very aggressive play right there. But you know what? Sometimes you roll the dice and it pays off. Table's just opened right up. And that's what I mean about this man. He has that swagger. He's willing to go offensive where other players might think otherwise.
Quarter-finalist in this tournament last year. He was runner-up in the Austrian Open this year on the Euro Tour. When he played in the Mosconi Cup in 2012, Europe were victorious. He has been an Austrian Open champion in the past. Runner-up in the European 8-Ball Championship of 2009. So his CV is improving all of the time. It doesn't match that of Hohmann's, one has to say. But as Ted made the point, this is a 50-50 match going into it. And until that shot, Ekonomopoulus hadn't put a foot out of place. But that was overhit the cue ball, and now a real examination.
Well, he wasn't too much bothered by it. Like every other shot, he just gets down on it and sinks it. So Nick Ekonomopoulos moves up 2-0 over Thorsten Hohmann.
Welcome back to the World Pool Masters, and here in Nottingham, Nikos Ekonomopoulos has dominated the early exchanges, taking the first 2 racks. Whilst in the third, he broke, and with no shot on the 1, he pushed out, only for Hohmann to give us a rare glimpse of why the German is so highly rated. The unfortunate contact with the 2 allowed the Greek back to the table, who then ran the rack out. In the fourth, the break was far from ideal, but Ekonomopoulos exuded confidence, which showed with long pots on both the 1 and 2 balls. And once through those obstacles, the Greek raced to the finish line and an impressive 4-0 scoreline. This is now the 5th.
Now this time, 1 and 2 in, and a shot on the 3 ball as well. Can't help but think how cruel this would be. Hohmann might have made that nightmare journey in vain.
I'm still shaking my head on how he played that last rack. I mean, when we think of push-outs, we tend to think that the rack is going to become a battle of safeties. And to Ekonomopoulus, a push-out apparently is just another offensive weapon.
Very sturdy fellow, isn't he? Into boxing and kickboxing. And he's peppering Hohmann with blows right now.
He's super confident. This is the way he always plays. Maybe not as perfect as he is shown here, but he's always got that swagger and confidence about him when he walks around the table and eyes up the patterns and the balls. And you've got to have that self-belief in this sport, because if you don't, you will get run over. There's nothing Hohmann can do about it now.
Deep screwing the cue ball in match number 1 seemed to be a little problematic, but not for Ekonomopoulus in match 2. Everything is going according to plan for him. What a scoreline. He's 5-0 ahead.
Thorsten Hohmann, the hitman, one of the greats of the game, 35 years old, born and raised in Fulda, Germany. Spent time in the German military, but spent most of his time while in the military playing pool on an official basis.
Unlike Sergeant Bilko.
And, you know, we really don't have a screen big enough to fit Thorsten's resume. It is just littered with win after win after win in tournaments of all kinds. 9-ball, straight pool, 8-ball, everything.
Now for Ekonomopoulus there, the 6 ball goes in, but there's no shot on the 1.
Well, even as we've seen, even when he's faced with a bit of a predicament, it doesn't seem to faze him.
Yes, Ted, you think about this, he's in this very healthy position, and yet, although he's broken reasonably well, he's not had all the fortune in the world.
And Hohmann has to get something going right now.
Time extension.
The one thing you know with him, he's been there, done that, potted balls, lifted trophies everywhere. He won't be panicking. He knows he's still got a shot at this, but he has to get a foothold, and quickly.
That worked out really well. Terrific safety there. I wouldn't be surprised if Nick tries to take this on.
Well, it's the next best thing, although I suppose you could say, theoretically, a 1-9 combination is there, but with such a distance between cue ball and object ball, and then between object ball and the secondary ball, this is by no means easy.
He's looking at it. He's down 5-0. What do we call that in American football? I'm going to test your knowledge, Phil. Hail Mary? He got it.
That really was a wonderful shot. Is it the start of a comeback, I wonder? Well, it was a very quick rack, just what Thorsten Hohmann needed. At least he knows he's not going to be whitewashed.
That was really well done. Just the kind of shot that can get you back in the match. You're never out of it in a winner breaks format. Certainly what would help here was to maybe get a good break and to have an open shot. Well, he's gonna, oh no. Did the two move into the path?
Well, I think it did, Ted. He can't pot it directly, the one, but he can certainly quite easily pot it cushion first.
Yes.
That said, he caught the one ball a little too thick, and that's why the cue ball is closer to the bottom cushion than he wanted it to be. This is a nerve jangler.
Time extension.
Yeah, that's why he calls the extension. He played that at the perfect speed. So it drops right in the pocket. Well, you have to say this, Phil. At least he seems to be getting his arm loose, he's having a chance to let it out a bit.
When you see comebacks in pool, it's either because of a mistake from the guys in front or a flash of inspiration. And it's not an exaggeration to say that 1-9 combination was inspired. It was daring, and it might lead to something big.
Well, you can bet he's going to try to replicate that break shot. This is going to be a break and run for Hohmann. He knows where the one is going to go, and he has a good idea where the cue ball is going to go on the break. So just repeat and shoot.
Hohmann still in something of a hole, but it's not quite as deep. Ekonomopoulus' lead reduced to 5-2.
Welcome back to the World Pool Masters. It's the opening round clash between Ekonomopoulus and Hohmann. The man from Greece raced into a 5-rack lead before the German could register in racks 6 and 7. But in the 8th, the break failed to open up the table, and after some tactical play, it was ball in hand for Hohmann, which saw a swift end to the rack, although from 8 to 9 required some good fortune. The result, after some tricky cueing, is a 3-5 scoreline as we pick up the action at the start of the 9th.
Thorsten seemed to be able to, he has the good attitude. Not getting down on himself. Biding his time, but nothing down on the break. Fortunately for Hohmann, nothing clear to a pocket on the 1 ball.
Well, that was simple, but very effective. Just wonder whether this is going to be similar to our first match of the tournament, where continually we expected a Niels Feijen fight back, which never really materialised. Here, Hohmann has won 3 racks on the trot, but he's been stopped dead in his tracks by this.
I believe he has left that open.
Well, it's partially hampered queuing, but Ekonomopoulus, if he can somehow get onto the 2 ball, has a very open table to double up on Hohmann.
Time extension.
Gallingly for Ekonomopoulus, he wants to apply left-hand side here, but of course the proximity of the green 6 to the cue ball means that's very difficult indeed. Well, no applause, but I think that shot merited applause.
Because that just opened up the table. Yeah, he'll have a good chance here to let his arm out, let his stroke out. He'd been sitting in his chair for a while. Got up a few times, but got put right back in the chair as he watched Hohmann come back with 3 in a row. This is just what players like, a chance to get up and shoot at a wide open table. Such a big rack here. He's not happy with that position. Where that cue ball is, a little bit difficult. Cueing. He handles it nicely.
He's one of those players, there's nothing flash, but he gets it done.
Yeah, you're right. Not flashy, but I think the fans enjoy watching him play because he plays fast and he plays confidently. And he's the kind of player that you always expect something big to happen. Right now, That was a excellent rack for Nikos Ekonomopoulus as he moves up by 3. Doesn't appear to have anything down. No, it's a dry break.
Well, he was praying for the one ball to somehow find its way at a very acute angle into the middle pocket. It didn't. It stopped over that pocket. And now, what a gift for Hohmann.
Still got a long way to go for Thorsten. He's raced to 8. Got to win 5 racks, and Nick has to win only 2 to move into our quarterfinals here at the Party Poker World Pool Masters. This is turning into a high-quality contest here in the second half as Hohmann has fought back.
Unlike the first match of the tournament, we're not seeing a great amount of balls missed. Two or three mistakes from defending champion Niels Feijen proved to be his undoing. And you get the feeling here, if Hohmann were to err, that would be that.
Thorsten likes to keep in shape, lifts a lot of weights. If you follow Hohmann on Facebook, he's always posting stuff. He's doing some really crazy stuff. One time in the Philippines, he took an old pool table and sunk it the bottom of the ocean, and then donned scuba gear and went down and got some weighted balls and was playing pool at the bottom of the ocean, and the pictures were phenomenal. He really enjoys the life of a successful professional pool player.
Well, he's put 4 of the last 5 racks in his locker. Ekonomopoulos still out in front, but getting to 8 will be difficult. You just know it.
Welcome back to this first round match between former world champion Thorsten Hohmann and Mosconi Cup star Nikos Ekonomopoulus. The man from Greece has dominated from the start. Hohmann has closed the gap as we pick up the action at the start of the 11th.
Another dry break.
And there, nothing really threatened, did it?
And this is a big opportunity now for Ekonomopoulus. He's going to eye this up right now. Look for the path to clear the colors and get himself on the hill. That was a confident stroke right there. That's what you got to love about this match, Phil. You know, both these guys at this point, you know, early on it was all Nikos, but now this is like a heavyweight boxing match, slugging it out toe to toe in the center of the ring.
Time extension.
30-second shot clock in operation for this tournament. Players allowed one 30-second extension per rack. Ekonomopoulus choosing to take it here. Based on the premise that he believed the 2-ball was perhaps the key ball.
You know, when you get the rest out, they don't stop the clock when you get the rest out. Then that can really take up a lot of time. As you can see, he's kind of moving quickly. A lot of players aren't really comfortable using the rest.
Yes, it's employed, of course, far less in pool than it is in snooker. And the more you're accustomed to it, the better you are. Hohmann must be fearing the worst here. Everything points to the fact he's going to be 3 down with a possible 4 to play. And with Ekonomopoulus breaking as well.
Well, he can only take solace in the fact that Ekonomopoulus hasn't broken consistently well here. Well, both players showing how you play 9-ball. This is good stuff, but it was Ekonomopoulus who got out to the lead, and that is benefiting him now. He was up 5-0 before Hohmann got himself back in the match, got himself together. Hohmann cut the score to 5-3, then it was 6-3, and now 6-4.
Is the cue ball wide enough? It is.
Well, he has weathered the comeback of one of the best players in the world in Thorsten Hohmann, and Nick Ekonomopoulus still playing excellent, confident pool. And now he's one away from a spot in the quarterfinals here at the Party Poker World Pool Masters.
Took his extension before potting the 2-ball. After that, he made it look simple. Position from 8 to 9 couldn't have been much better.
This time the 1-ball is down, but he loses control of the cue ball. And that's why he's got this extremely long shot on the 2. He has really struggled with the break. and yet he's up 7-4.
Early in a tournament, you'll find other competitors in an event in the arena on a spying mission, trying to work out how best to break off. I think it's fair to say all four players we've seen thus far haven't exactly mastered the break, but you know they will work it out.
And he calls a push out, and he's had some excellent push outs so far in this match. Well, with the way the conditions are, Phil, the way they're racking the balls, there's no tap balls, there's no template, there's no illegal break rule, they may not figure it out. And you can see the players when they're breaking, they're having to think, well, should I put the cue ball here or should I put it over there? You know, on the head string when they're breaking. And that just tells you that, yeah, they have yet to figure it out.
Here's a question for you, Ted. Over the years, consistently, who is the best breaker?
Well, I've always liked Taiwanese player Ko Pin-yi. Got it down to a science. And ideally, they want to put the cue ball, park it in the middle in order to increase their percentages of having an open shot after the break. See, if the cue ball's down at one end of the table, well, you're lessening your percentages of having a good open shot. So guys who are really good at the break, like a Ko Pin-yi from Taiwan, they work on it day in and day out on how to park the cue ball dead center. So here you see Nikos gets the push out back, and he leaves it open.
Yes, there's life in this one. Mark my words. Ekonomopoulus, though, will be delighted. Well, certainly with that positional shot, but also with the fact that the ping 4 and the green 6 are close together. That was an unforced error.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a perhaps jet lag induced mental lapse. Well, sure, he can pot this. He's got to get position.
Hello. 3-9 combination, Ted.
He's going to have a real close look at that. Yes, indeed. There you see him lining it up. This could be the match. That's a real tasty proposition there, Phil. There it is. Nikos Ekonomopoulus takes advantage of the error by Thorsten Hohmann. The 3-9 combination wins it, and he moves in to our quarterfinals while Thorsten Hohmann is out.
I played perfect all the match, but in 5-0 I didn't make a ball.